We had Valentina Shevchenko versus Manon Fiorot. Um, Look, this is another one where going in, I thought like, does Manon really have a chance? Like Valentina's gone through and really cleaned out the division so far. I don't know. So this was a really interesting night for me because not only did we get to see Shevchenko go up against Manon Fiorot, but you also had Alexa Grasso going up against Natalia Silva, all in that same division. And so, like,
So
this is all like an interesting thing for this division particularly.
yeah, and like you said, does Manon have what it takes? Blah blah blah. But then you see the Alexa Grasso performance, and then I was like, oh well, maybe she does have a chance. If
Yes.
Alexa Grasso beat Shevchenko and then fought her to a draw, and that's what we're looking at. No disrespect to Alexa Grasso, but we all know what happened. 315 with her.
Yeah.
I was like, well, maybe she does have a shot. And I thought,
Yeah. More
you know what's
competitive
funny?
fight than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, and I thought, there's a very real chance that this turns into just a point fighting match between these two girls, and that either Manon's going to be too light and on the outside for Shevchenko to land her big counters on because she's not going to be there, or Valentina is going to mix in her wrestling and it's going to be too much for Manon. And I was wrong about both things
Mm.
because I thought I did not expect, especially after the first round, uh, Shevchenko is lighting her up with her lead hand, and
Yes.
Manon's just walking into it, busts up her nose, and then for good measure she takes her down and just kind of controls her on the ground. And you're like, well, it's gonna be a long night for Manon.
Yes.
Second round, she makes some good adjustments, and she lands a takedown of her own. Right, the right hand isn't landing for Shevchenko the same in the second round, and she gets a takedown. And you're like, oh, she made the adjustments. Maybe she is going to outgrapple Shevchenko. But no, they both pretty much, for the most part, stonewalled each other takedown wise for the rest of the fight, largely. And a lot of it was fought in the clinch here or on the far outside. Like, well, most Shevchenko fights are fought on the far outside, but yeah, this was, a lot of people shit talk this fight. I was fine with this fight. I thought it was interesting. I thought there was some fun stuff in this fight.
Yeah, well, something that you've mentioned about Shevchenko a lot of times is her spinning attacks. And she could be a little
Yes.
repetitive with some of her spinning attacks. And so after
Mhm.
seeing Grasso capitalize on those in their first fight, I thought, okay, maybe everybody's figuring out the game plan. Those spinning
Mhm.
attacks still seem pretty successful last night against Manon Fiorot.
Well,
Whether
she did a lot, she did a lot better and used what Manon was doing to throw it versus just
yes,
like randomly
just throwing
throwing
it
it.
randomly, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But I mean, I have on here spinning back kicks, spinning heel kicks, spinning back fists, and all
Mhm.
of which were pretty successful, right?
She landed the spinning back fist like twice too, as
Yep.
Manon was closing the distance.
Valentina finally drops Minot at the end of the fourth round. Uh,
Mhm.
at that
Oh,
time,
whoops.
she had her in that weird position where like the top half of Minot was up against the fence, and so
She's
Valentina,
curled.
yeah, jumps up on her and starts like landing some shots. I was like, man, 30 more seconds, she probably would have finished it then.
Could be.
Fifth round, Minot doing some more clinching, more dirty boxing, clinching Valentina up against the fence, which I thought
I
was
like
pretty
the
good.
knees. The knees to
Yeah,
the body were good. Yeah.
but ultimately not enough to beat Miss Valentina Shevchenko. Look, shout out Rio, shout out new guy, shout out James. Everybody talking about what's next now for Shevchenko. Look, Wei Li, Zhang Wei Li versus Shevchenko
You
would
got to
be a
do it.
fun matchup, dude. Come
You
on.
got to do it. And like James says, as a member of the Team Ghost and Team Whaley squad, not looking at upcoming contenders, are you guys excited to see the type of game plan Ghost comes up with for Zhang Wei Li? Dude, that's the cool thing about that matchup too. Not only is it just a great matchup, but I cannot wait to see what kind of a matchup or what kind of a game plan Ghost comes up with for Zhang Wei Li if they make that fight. It's so cool.
Yep.
And keep talking for a second. A pretty large spider just crawled across the wall right here that I'm gonna kill, and I'm gonna mute my mic.
And shout out HOB Comer saying Anfiro was the favorite. Y'all must have forgot who Valentina is. Look, I'm one of those guys that had been on the Valentina Shevchenko train for quite some time. I mean, we take a look at her resume, right? Like she's gone through Joanna Jędrzejczyk, Jessica Ai. We got Will killing a spider in the background. Liz Carmouche, Jennifer Maya, Jessica Andrade. Look, the list goes on and on. She finally gets that loss against Alexa Grasso, gets the draw, and then beats Alexa Grasso. So she's been doing this for a long time, clearing out that division for a while. But I feel like that fear that was there for the opponents going up against Shevchenko is just not there anymore.
Yeah, and then first off, real quick,
I
Did you
back.
win?
Trust me, I back.
uh, look, the fear is not there. The game has evolved around her. When you
You
have
guys,
that
wait,
type of
time
a
out.
rank,
You guys saying Will should have spin heel kicked that spider?
you imagine, dude, I just fucking I'm muted
Just in
and
the
you just see me
background.
spin and like all my camera falls and fucking take out all my
Awesome.
whole desk.
Oh, sorry, that was good. That was good. Oh man, sorry for interrupting, Will.
uh,
That was just too funny.
yeah, I think look, there's a lot of footage for someone like Ghost to go through and create a very good game plan against someone like Shevchenko. When you have that much footage of somebody, that fear does go away because you get to see what works, what doesn't. And the longer we've seen Shevchenko go, the less we've seen of like the crazy finishes. I think like the Jessica I knockout is terrifying, right? But like, how long ago was that? And who
I
was it
mean, even
against?
then, right? Look, check this out. Jessica I head kick where she sent her to a different realm, right?
Hmm.
Ketlin Sermonera, ground and pound from
Change the name.
crucifix. Yeah,
Yeah.
Jessica Andrade, elbows from crucifix. Lauren Murphy, ground and pound. And then after that, it's been decision split, loss to rear naked choke, decision split draw, decision unanimous, decision unanimous.
Yes. Ghost coming in says, I will say this about this fight. Manon let Val play her A game, and that's not the right approach. She did, but I think the problem is I don't know how much of a B game Manon has, and unfortunately for her, her A game is something that Val
Mm.
is going to do well with. Someone like Zhang Wei Li, she's got a couple games. You know, she's got a couple things she can do. She can fight differently depending on who she's fighting,
Look, I'm done
and
picking against Zhang Weili, okay?
yeah, I mean, dude,
Yeah, I'm done.
if they make that fight, please let Zhang Wei Li be the underdog, please, which it could
Yes.
could happen, and I will bet because that's one I'm pretty confident in.
Hey everybody, Romero and Will here. Thank you for watching that short clip. Just so you know, that was a small excerpt from what we covered this last Sunday, right, Will?
Yeah, we cover the entire event every weekend. So this was just a cutout from the live stream that we did. The link to that live stream is in the description. So if you want to hear about the other fights that night, it's down below in the description. Please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell because we go live every Sunday to cover events. And if you do that, you'll know for next week and you can tune in and be in the chat and get featured on the show just like everybody else was on this clip.
We hope to chat with you live.